So it looks like Foundry VTT made an official statement in regards to the draft OGL 1.2, and they've made some very poignant arguments and statements in regards to what's going on, some of which we've talked about on this channel in other videos, but I thought it was worth digging through because it is, in my mind, a very well-written document that points out some very interesting fallacies in the arguments that Wizards of the Coast is trying to make. Again, this is above and beyond things that I've already covered on my channel, which is the reason I wanted to read this off to everybody because I think it's worth digging into. So if you haven't already done so, I will be providing a link in the description text below so you can check this out at your leisure, head on over and read them. And I would urge you, if you have any desire to get involved with what the ORC is doing, what the ORC Alliance is working on, please go over to Paizo's website and get registered so you can be a part of that. As I reported yesterday, more than 1,500 companies, including ours, have joined the fight. We are looking forward to helping create the best open gaming license possible, and we hope to see everyone over there helping to work towards that same goal so that we can have a better, brighter future for tabletop. In the meantime, oh yeah, by the way, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, all the good things. Let's dive in. So the draft OGL, as they say, there are some improvements, and we kind of covered those improvements. They got rid of all of these, terminologies regarding license backs and royalties, and all of those are good things, but they should have never been in there in the first place. Also, funnily enough, was the OGL 1.2 has draft plastered all over the documents, and the 1.1 never did because the 1.1 was never a draft. It was sent out with NDAs and contracts. The fact that they are trying to still spin that as a draft is just ludicrous. In any case, it did make some improvements, but as Foundry VTT says, despite those improvements, there's still some serious problems. Wizards of the Coast has invited community discussion on this matter, and it's important for us to advocate for our users, our product, and the value that we bring to the D&D community. Now, if you don't know who Foundry VTT is, Foundry is a virtual tabletop program. They have Foundry, the Forge, I think is what it's called actually, and then they have their program, the Foundry VTT. I've not used Foundry VTT. I'm familiar with them. I'm a Fantasy Grounds guy. I've used Roll20 in the past, but in any case, they are a great program from what I've heard. I've been debating trying out Forge. So these are legitimate people in the space. If you don't know who they are, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you do because you're tied into TTRPG. In any case, thought I'd throw that out there just for those people who might not know. The unwitting acceptance part. They said this is a particularly dangerous combination of statements in the OGL 1.2, which, unless corrected by Wizards of the Coast, may result in creators unknowingly and non-consensually accepting the terms of this new license. Specifically in page 1 of the OGL 1.2, it says, by using our license content, you agree to the terms of this license. Now that's kind of bad in and of itself to have it buried in there somewhere where just that by using this stuff, you automatically agree. You might not even be aware that these documents, that the open gaming license exists. You might not be aware that there's an SRD. You might not be aware of any of that. So it's very dangerous that they're trying to include that language in there. They also have in 1.A1 it says our license content. This license content covers any content in the SRD 5.1 or any subsequent version we release under this license that is not licensed to you under Creative Commons, which is basically the product identity. You may use that content in your own works on the terms of this license, but not, you can use the Creative Commons stuff, but not the product identity. So it says here, basically, if a creator uses content from the SRD version 5.1, which is the current version that's been available since 2016, they implicitly agree to the terms of the OGL 1.2 license. So thankfully, we already stripped everything of the OGL out from our products, because that's kind of BS that they think that they can make you accountable and agree to their terms of their license non-consensually. I don't see that actually ever holding up in court. Again, I can say this because I've been on the other side of the fence in the sense that, we've done a lot of work in the past on video games. So we've done MMORPGs. We're doing a single-player RPG right now, a point-and-click game along with our tabletop game. And one of the things that's required for you to deal with, like, say, PayPal and deal with chargebacks and people trying to get money back for wrong reasons is having a clickable terms of service, something that people have to manually click through, preferably multiple things that people have to manually click through before they ever get to the point where they can make a purchase. And the reason for that, in my experience, based on the legal counsel that I've been given and what I've worked under the assumption of during my business career, because by establishing a multi-tiered step process where people are continually consenting to the actions and the terms, there is no excuse when and if they decide to do something down the road, because you have a very clear carbon copy footprint that shows, well, you clicked that you read and understood this, you clicked that you read and understood this, and you clicked that you read and understood this. Therefore, you're confirming that they actually took action, kind of like signing a document. There is no signature required according to 1.2, right? They're making this a non-consensual agreement, which I don't see that holding up. But again, as the disclaimer states in the bottom of this description, I'm not a legal expert. I'm just giving you my opinion and based on what I've seen in my business operations. It's very interesting. It says here, many creators will unknowingly accept the 1.2 terms. This could be avoided with an explicit grace period for ongoing projects and an obvious version number increase to the SRD, which makes it clear that by using that game content, you are accepting OGL 1.2. So in other words, let's call it the SRD 5.2 to go along with the OGL 1.2. That way there's a clear definition of versions. We have the version 5.1 that was used for OGL 1.0A and the 5.2, which is used for OGL 1.2. That would be a clear delineation and would be an acceptable movement on their part. Deauthorization does not apply. OGL 1.2 perseveres with a dubious attempt to deauthorize the prior OGL 1.0A. Any creator who agrees to it affirmatively gives up their rights to continue using OGL 1.0A. The new license acknowledges that previously published content is unaffected, but attempts to cast doubt on the validity of continued usage of OGL 1.0A for the creation, revision, or distribution of works. This is a misrepresentation of the text and clearly documented intention of the Open Game License. Wizards of the Coast should focus on a path forward that incentivizes creators to adopt the new license because it offers superior access to game content, including content for 1D&D, rather than focusing misguided efforts on trying to nullify the prior license. I am 1,000,000% in agreement with this, because the conversation should be about how can we make 1D&D a better product and a better service for everyone, to inspire people to want to sign up and work with this new system, as opposed to using these draconian terms and legal browbeating to try to beat everybody into submission. The commentary here about, while the new OGL 1.2 does include the significant term irrevocable, Wizards has provided themselves with several ways to cancel the license, either individually or in totality, especially Clause 9.d, which gives them the ability to declare the entire license void, nullify it for anyone who's ever used it, if any part of this license is held to be unenforceable or invalid. And they could just come up with things at whim, and they can use several clauses in the document to do that as well. There's also the termination clause, which allows them, 7b1, allows them to terminate unilaterally and immediately for any infringement of intellectual property without a period of notice or opportunity to cure said breach, which is required by the OGL 1.A. So again, there should be grace periods for people who inadvertently step over the bounds. And then there's the whole class action waiver, which is the worst and most dangerous part of the 1.2, which I've covered in my previous document. By the way, we're going to be talking about all this what is today? Today's Sunday, actually. Later on today, we're going to have a live stream in a couple of hours, actually. I got to remember, because I'm recording these on different days. But today, Sunday, the 22nd, we will be doing a live stream at 8 a.m. Central. So if you're watching this, make sure to tune in for the live stream, because we're going to be talking about all this stuff in greater detail and covering some comments that other people have made on YouTube comments and beyond. So basically, it's ridiculous here, the fact that they think that they can get away with getting you to waive all your rights in any sort of class action or any legal action against them whatsoever. There's a whole section here on the virtual tabletop policy. I'm not going to cover this today, because that'll be for the live stream tomorrow, because it does talk about tabletop stuff, and specifically because Foundry VTT is a VTT program, virtual tabletop program. They've got skin in the game with that, and so they have a very interesting take on things, which I want to go over when we're doing the live stream, so make sure to tune in for that. In any case, that's an overview of what they had to say about the draft language. Love to hear your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Support if you can with super chats on premieres and live streams. Super thanks after the facts. Don't forget our Patreon page back there for our tabletop world point and click adventure game our fantasy book series, our Discord channel. All the links are down there. Join as a member here on YouTube to get more super awesome content. And we'll see everybody in the next episode of the next live stream. Until then, stay safe and happy gaming.